family came over from England, two brothers. One went down into Tennessee, actually became the governor of Tennessee, and they moved on into California. And the other brother came up into Canada and settled in Hollyford. So at some point, somebody decided to be a baker, and they opened up a bake store. And my grandfather was the last to bake.
Okay.
The bread wagons I set up there. Dad would be 102 now, if he was alive, and Dad can remember as a kid going with his father on the bread run. I would say Dad was maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, and they had a bread route that they went around 3 times a week on this bread route.
Okay.
And selling bread that they baked in the morning, and they load up the wagon and they head around to different people's houses. And from what I can see in the old ledgers, there was a lot of bartering going on because they needed eggs and butter and cream to do their baking, but they also were bringing in flour and such things to bake their stuff. So they were bartering flour for other things from the farm families.
Okay.
And that's basically where they got, and I think that one thing just led to another. You know, when you go down these backcountry roads, 100-acre farm, one after the other. So that's where the core of the business was, looking after the farmer. And of course, the farmer would come in and need coveralls. The farmer would need his groceries. The farmer would need halal shears. And then that's where the general store came, because they were bringing all this stuff in. And I've been up there. I was a kid. I was born in 52. But we were probably, I don't think we were very old. We were maybe 6 or 7 years old. I mean, the stuff was in bulk. The tea, I can still remember, tea was in a box about that wide, but that wide and that high. And it took a while to get the lid off the box. It had little nails holding it down. Inside it was all lined with, it wouldn't be aluminum foil, it was tin foil, not aluminum, it was tin foil. And then you bagged that tea up in little cellophane bags and taped them shut. Mrs. Hogan would come in with her grocery list, and she would stand at the counter. And she'd say, I need this, this, this. And as kids, we would run up and down.
So that's the complete change, right? You didn't get the stuff.
We'd run up and down the aisles, and we set them in front of Mrs. Hogan. And then the adults, seniors, they would add up what she got. Business would be done, and we'd put the stuff in boxes and carry it out to her car. And we were just kids, 7, 8, 10 years old. I mean, and you know, it wasn't like we thought it was great. I mean, my mother had to drag us out of there to go do schoolwork. The cookies were in bulk, and that was a fun, you know.
People still talk about it.
People still come in the store and remember the bulk cookies. And there was a table, I say, about 8 feet long and about 3 feet wide, and there was cases and all boxes of cookies on there. The change to me came in about 60. Well, you can look it up exactly. At some point, the farmers were not allowed to ship milk by cans; they had to ship it by bulk.
Right.
And I think that was a huge.
That changed all of
That's a huge change. That's when all the old farmers decided to pack it in. They weren't going to make that investment to go to bulk. Instead of canned milk, which they'd milk by hand, they'd put the milk out, and the truck would come around every day to pick up the cans of milk.
Right.
They went to the bulk system, where you have to have a milk house, pipelines to bring the milk to the bulk tank. The tank had to have refrigeration in it. They might pick up once or twice a week that way.
Right.
And it was, to me, that was a huge change, and became less farmers, but bigger farmers. And probably the makeup of the village changed too. We had more people starting to migrate out here.
Right.
Road systems got better. You could drive to Kingston, live out here, work out here. I can see the handwriting. I don't know if my dad could see it. I don't think he could see it. But I can see the handwriting on the wall that store wasn't going to support 2 families up there. The old corner store up there.
Right.
It wasn't going to support 2 families. It just couldn't do it.
In the end, because the places were in Kingston where they used to get all their hardware.
Yeah, there was amalgamation within that.
Right.
All those hardware business.
All became one.
And Dad could buy tea kettles cheaper at Canadian Tire than he could through Dollars.
Yeah. Right.
So that was the beginning.
So that was the beginning. And so I was seeing all this. So I said, well, how do you if you're going to be in retail, you gotta be in retail. You gotta be able to compete.
Right.
So there's been a big, huge transformation in the way the business changed here, and I kind of can see that.
You saw that coming.
I can see it coming, right? You can see it coming. I think I gave it about 10 years. I graduated from Queens in 75. I guess I had that going by 87. What happened was, that was a dance hall. They tore down the dairy, built a building that was 60 feet wide and 100 feet long, freestanding building. And they ran dances there, weddings and dances. And I would say that lasted for about 5 years. So they put it up for sale, and I bought it, because I've been in it, and I thought this would be a perfect store because it's a freestanding. There's no posts holding up the ceiling. It was all free structure.
Okay.
So I bought it in probably '85, had it going by '87, and then about '89, I did the Home Harbor.
That was a new building.
That was another new structure.
So were you running everything out of the one building at first?
No, I stayed up there with my father because he didn't want to retire.
Right.
He didn't retire till 2 months before he died.
That's
He's 90 years old.
He wasn't sure about the competition, either.
So, yeah.
Jeez, I had a manager of the food store and had a manager of the Home Harbor store.
Okay.
In retrospect, I shouldn't have done it, but my father my mother weren't ready to retire.
Right.
They couldn't run it themselves.
So you were running.
So I was running that store, plus having managers try to run this down here.
Oh, okay.
And it was complicated, and it was tough, and it was hard.
And you were
going.
fighting with yourself.
And we were competing against ourselves.
Yeah.
I think it was '89. Dad didn't die. When Dad died, 2004.
2004.
Yeah, it's 15 years.
You
I had
kept-
that store open,
and you
but
were
couldn't
running.
be there because I was up there with my dad.
Mhm.
So now I'm trying to. I haven't got a game plan of what I'm doing,
And you're working it out.
but I'm working it out. But you got to think that down the road.